Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Minecraft Dungeons live stream. Today, I'm going to be taking my character and trying to, well, let's see. We're going to unlock the rest of the runes, and then we're going to try and see how powerful we can get. We want to unlock all of the unique weapons with hopefully good enchantments on them in anticipation of the DLC coming out for this game in July. I think it's coming out in July. So normally, this time slot of the day would be reserved for Monster Hunter, but my views on Monster Hunter are actually quite low, and I think that's because people are just waiting for a Latreon and not really playing. The other thing is, last night at like 4 a.m. in the morning, we had nearly 400 viewers for Minecraft Dungeons, and so this is a little bit of an experiment today. Today I just want to see if we stream at a normal time, would we end up with the bazillion viewers, or not a bazillion, you know, like 400, 500 viewers, right? So it's a little bit of an experiment, and I can't guarantee you that we would do this again, but if the interest was there, we probably would. Otherwise, we'll probably be jumping back to Monster Hunter World. It's just a, you know, it's just an experiment. Let's see where it goes. Let's see where it goes. So this is my character. He's level 82. Ooh, look at that. Oh, by the way, let's see if there's any game sessions. Oh, right. So game sessions aren't online matchmaking. They're your friends. So last night I accepted a number of friend requests, and you can host a lobby for your friends. But you can't actually have online matchmaking. We're actually going to play offline. That's because we did play some multiplayer last night, and it turned out having friends who are pretty much the same power level as you is really important, because they're just going to struggle through the game if they have a much lower power level than you, and that's not fun. So, interestingly, I think they ought to add online matchmaking. I think that would improve this game, but maybe they did that intentionally. Maybe they want to make sure the experience is mostly personal. I think probably the thing that impressed me most about this game is that it really does remind me of like Castle Crashers, because you can have somebody sitting on the couch next to you playing the game with you, right? So I thought that was actually a really important part of the experience. Okay, so we were going through and collecting all of the runes. I tell you what, let's get a warm-up round and just destroy some bad guys for a little while. What do we have here? So we have Final Shout, Protection, Cooldown. That's actually not bad. Lightning Rod, 104. I don't think we have any other lightning rods, do we? This glaive has Echo Wave, Spin. And just get rid of this. Health potions heal nearby allies. Really? Property shifting armor. What? Weird. Gives you a pet back. So the mystery armor, I guess, is just, it has like a random set of abilities. Do they stay the same? Huh. So mystery armor seems like something you might consider farming for. Like this one looks like the hunter armor. And what does it come with? There's protection and final shout. Huh, interesting. Excuse me. Scatter crossbow. This crossbow, modified to hold and fire multiple bolts, is also a decent, half-decent musical instrument. Interesting. This is what they must be talking about. The heart must come from the scatter crossbow. Can you meow at me? My cat's already meowing at me. Ah, man, I need a drink. Soul healer. You know what? We don't need a level 100 soul healer. I don't even think I would use it. So I tell you what, we'll stop doing that for a moment. Let's go ahead and get out into a fight. So I think I was farming Underhalls because I wanted an exploding crossbow. How's it going, Ben? He says, knockoff Diablo. I never actually played Diablo, so maybe this is like a direct knockoff of it, but I don't see the problem with that. Many games are of the same genre. How's it going, guys? Underhalls. Oh my god. So weirdly enough, you actually do get better at this game. There is some skill to it. Recognizing certain patterns on the map. Knowing how to group monsters together so that, your enemies together so that you can take advantage of them being in a group. How many bad guys there are already? Oh god. Oh, is the game freezing? We actually ended last night with the game freezing, didn't we? Oh my god. Getting real lucky with deflect here. Where's the 24-hour Terraria live stream? I don't know if we'll do Terraria. It's something I'm still contemplating. So where are we? Okay, we gotta find the key now, right? My cat wants me to play so bad. Key's not gonna be over here. Oops. What am I stuck on? It's a little tricky, like, navigating the map, but at the same time, trying to look on the screen. Oh, there's a chest over there. Let's go get that chest. Dark armor. Oops. Come on now. Spawning in enemies. Usually that's the sign there's going to be a chest. Come here, you. Yeah, so there was a noise. This is such a weird thing on this map. You have a mini fight like that occur, but no reward. I don't really understand what actually happens. Wonder if a chest shows up really far away or something. Doing schoolwork? What? Hey, just want you to know that I love your vids and could watch you all day long. Thank you very much, Hansa. Oh my god. Murr, 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 murr. Oh my god, he's still alive. There's my golem. I don't actually think the golem's that good. I think I'm really powerful, and so things that boost me are actually probably better. And I actually really like the running shoes here. The cape and the running shoes have been some of my favorite items in the game. Hey TCC, me and Koala created a poll to better take people's votes. Could you pin it for people to see it easier? I could consider doing that later. I'm gonna keep playing this at the moment. For organizing a buy-in on a booster box is what he's talking about, guys. We're talking about maybe pooling our money together to get a vintage booster box. Run over here. Oh my god. I wish there was a way to quickly return to the door other than using, like, running shoes. Man, I really want the running shoes. I'd give up the golem right now for the running shoes. Maybe I should do that next. Hey, mister, what is the best hammer build in this game? Well, I'm using a unique hammer right now called the Stormlander, and it's pretty strong. I like it. Stormlander. I don't really know what the strongest build is. That's a great question. I think that the game kind of offers you the ability to take any number of different skills, and they're useful in different ways. Like, I think some skills are better at single target damage, and then some skills are better at clearing groups, you know what I mean? And so there might not be just one hammer build that you want. You may want a few of the best hammers with different setups that will help you accomplish different goals. I think there would be a reward in here, right? This looks like it would be one of those places, doesn't it? How about over here? Smack these guys. Alright, we checked out that area too. Let's go ahead and head to the next place. My reading teacher is making us write a story at the end of the freaking year. Huge bruh moment. Write a story? Oh my god, dude. Dude, I hate school. I think school, I've been thinking about this a lot, guys. I think school is kind of a big waste of time, honestly. And that's because you do all this work for, you know, homework and all this shit, and you don't even get paid for it. You could be doing that work for an actual business and be getting paid. And that would be great. You could use that money to go to college if you want to go to college. You go to school, you just get graded. Stupid. Not a fan of school. School didn't do anything for me, honestly, and I'm still successful. Actually, the one thing school did do is it put me into debt. Put me into, like, really life-changing kinds of debt. You pay taxes your whole life to pay for the crappy public school in America. And then you go into debt to go to college. Oh, okay, here's some bad guys. And then you find out everything you learned was kind of useless. Most of the stuff you learn is actually not used. You know how people they complain about like math? They're like, when am I going to use math? That's actually not, you know, it's not just a complaint. It's a real thing. You really don't use math. If you want to learn math, you can go learn math. But it's like, I don't think you actually need a lot of math unless your intention is to become an engineer. Which, if you're really good at math, you should become an engineer. It's an easy job. It's an easy, in-demand, well-paying job, but I mean, if you don't enjoy math, why are you learning it? Doesn't make any sense. Spend all this time and money on something you don't even need. It's just inefficient. Oh, there's nothing this way. These guys are tough. I am super educated. Oh yeah, this exists. Most math you learn is actually pointless. That's actually accurate. When I was younger, people would complain about that, and I'd be like, oh, you're just complaining. No, you actually really don't use most of your math. They make you take it, it lowers your grade, and then you do not become an engineer because you have no interest in being an engineer. But if you're good at math, and if you find it not boring, I think that's actually kind of the key that you need to look for. If you find that math is not that boring for you, there we go. People want to force you to do math the way they want to force you to be a doctor. You know how there's kind of like a stereotype, right? Like maybe you have Asian parents and they're like, you need to be a doctor or a lawyer. Maybe you have Indian parents. Parents want their kids to go be engineers so that you can be rich, but it's like, if you don't like math, why are you learning it? You can get really rich opening a business. You don't need to be good at math to open a business, necessarily. I mean, you got to know some, like, business math, but that's not, like, you know, calculus physics or anything like that. Everyone wants you to be an engineer. You need to go be a programmer, silly. I'm like a successful YouTuber here thinking, why the frick did I go into debt for education? It's so silly. Seems like Roblox Diablo on first glance. That's right, we're playing Roblox. So we did not get the bow that I was looking for. We're looking for that exploding crossbow. Maybe we should be playing an exploding crossbow map that also has a boss, because the boss is another drop, and I find that bosses seem to give pretty good drops. Meritocracy is back. How's it going, HP Blast? Is this game fun, says Swayze. Well, you keep watching and you can decide for yourself. I think that is fun. I'm still playing it. Yeah, you know, I think that probably Algebra 2 is about as much as anyone really needs to know. They want you to take Trig, they want you to take Calc 1, Calc 2, Calc 3, Abstract Algebra, all this other crap, and it's just like, man, that stuff's for engineers. It's not for normal people. Unless you want to be an engineer. Alright, we take so long to learn Algebra 2. You should just start learning it as a kid right away. It's like, no, they gotta learn math and division. No, they don't. Just go straight to the... wasting time, man. So much time is wasted in school. It's ridiculous. What are we getting? Fiery Forge. So Fiery Forge has a boss, and it has exploding arrows. I was going to be a computer programmer, but I dropped out of college and now I have a very steady job. Yeah, for sure, man. Well, and you know, the reason people want to have steady jobs is because most people want to live in the middle class, right? It's getting harder to live in the middle class. Things are expensive. But you know, one of the things that makes it hard to live in the middle class? Being in $50,000 of student debt for a degree that did not actually get you good pay. It's ridiculous. There's so many useless degrees to go to school for. And the school just stays quiet about it. It doesn't say anything. It doesn't the degree doesn't come with the warning, do not take this if you want to be wealthy one day, you know? And that's really what they ought to do. They ought to say that. If you want to be wealthy one day, do not go for this degree. You're wasting your time. You don't need a degree to be good at music. You just need to be good at music. You just need to be good at music. You need to be born good with music and do it on your own because you're passionate about it. You don't need school for that shit. So stupid. Jimi Hendrix in college to learn how to play guitar. So stupid, man. No, it's a big money grab is what it is. They're like, oh, you got the government money, huh? Here, give us some of that government money. So it's a fucking lie. So stupid. I'm so bitter about it, if you can't tell. I want to help people, so I'm going to become a doctor and go $250,000 in the debt. Yeah, that's another annoying thing. It's like everyone wants to know, why is it so expensive for healthcare? Well, why does it cost so much to be a doctor? Uh-oh. Where's the budget doctor schools? They don't have them. They don't want them. They got like these unions, right? There's like these doctor unions. They don't want you to be a doctor who went to school for cheap. They want you to pay the big bucks on it. They're like, nah, there's a lot of money involved here, so you're going to have to pay to become a doctor. If you want to be a doctor, you're going to have to enrich us first. Absolutely silly. It should be something that the government pays for. Not pays for, but the government provides to compete with these stupid schools. It should be an education to become a doctor, totally funded by the government. Completely free, based only on grades. Nah, we're gonna charge you like $300,000 to be a doctor. So silly. I guess we grab this real fast. Oh my God! Look how many crossbows here. All right, we took a wrong turn. Let's go this way. Where are we meant to go? We're meant to go this way. Ow. Ow. All the trash mobs. You could kill them all. There's actually a legit good number of mobs in here, so, you know, there could be some rewards if you kill them. Oh, I wonder if you could have ran through that wall. My reading teacher is the most petty person I know as of right now. She gives us less time to do online assignments than any other teacher. Does she? That sucks, man. Get these exploders. Oops. If you fail reading, it's an automatic retain if you redo the whole grade. Well, reading, I can understand reading. I mean, if you're no good at reading, you're in trouble. Like, there's jobs probably for people who can't read, but not being able to read is pretty basic. I'm talking about like the high level stuff. There's the only reason to take the high level stuff is if you're actually gonna go be like an engineer and all that. Same with just college in general. Like, not everyone should be going to college is my realization. Some people should be staying home and getting a job right away. Well, those spiders slowing me down, man. No chest? What was the point? Maybe somebody spawned far away. No. I don't understand. Weird. If you fail reading, it's not automatic. My reading teacher, yeah. I want to help people, so I'm going to become a doctor. I want to do YouTube full-time, but my parents want me to get a real job. You can be a YouTuber. It's a legit job. If you work on it 12, 16 hours a day, it's a legit job. Just like any job. You're basically, think of yourself like a journalist. It's very similar to like being a journalist. The reason why not, some people will be like, why isn't everyone a YouTuber? It's really simple. It's because it turns out getting up every single day and talking to people and being able to have a conversation, maybe about the news, maybe about writing guides, being able to review games, all that stuff, that's an actual skill. It takes a lot of work. You know, being able, it looks really fun because it is actually a pretty cool job. But there's a lot of cool jobs out there, you know. This isn't YouTuber isn't the only cool job. Like a glorified game player. But yeah, there's actually quite a lot of work that goes into it. So, and that's why not everyone gets to be a YouTuber. I think probably one of the things that I find most challenging about being a YouTuber is the consistency. So it's like, you know, if I didn't stream every single day, if I didn't make videos every single day, you couldn't rely on me as a source of entertainment. Think of CNN. CNN's actually exactly the same way. So with CNN, alright, there we go. With CNN, they're out there making news. Not like once or twice a week, but like every single day. They don't miss a beat. And so you know when you flip on your TV or your YouTubes or whatever, CNN's going to be there. And that's a fundamental part of making content for anyone. They have to be able to rely on you to make that content. And that takes, you learn over time that that's one of the hardest parts, is being consistent. It's really hard. It's just like living on any work schedule for any job, being consistent like that. It's like any work schedule. And the idea that you strictly get to do what you want to do is also not true. You do what the audience wants you to do. What you might want to do is lay around with no mic on. Oh, I'm dead. Oh my god, dude. You might want to lay around with no mic on and just play the game at your leisure and not have to do all this stuff. But that's not how it works. You want to be a content creator, you got to play what they want you to play, and you got to make it somewhat entertaining, formative, something, right? Wow, there's just so many of these guys. Oh, I died to the electricity. One day, doctors will be harder to get. Less and less people are going in since it has the highest suicide rate, burnout rate, underpaid quite often, and underappreciated often. Well, you're going to add police officer to that list, too. People aren't going to want to be police officers anymore. Not in America, anyways. And yet, it's one of the most important jobs in the whole world. It really is to have security, because when it comes to like economic investment, you ever wonder why the third world is so poor, guys? You ever wonder why like Africa doesn't do too well? There's places in South America that don't do too well, you know, like I don't know, maybe Venezuela right now, maybe well, they're all leaving, like Honduras, right? They got the drug wars going on over there and all the people want to leave. The reason why those places are so poor is because when the crime rate is high, nobody invests money. It's really simple, actually. This is one of the most basic things you learn in economics. So when you guys go to college and you waste a bunch of money like I do, one of the things you learn is that for an economy to become like decent, for people to invest, the very first thing you have to have is security. You have to be able to rely on the thing that you're investing in to be there the next day. You have to be able to know when you put your money somewhere, like the bank, that the bank doesn't run off with your money, or that the bank doesn't get looted, right? You have to have faith that that's going to be a safe place for your money, because if it's not safe, what an investor does, and an investor is somebody who really understands money quite well, what they do instead is they just take the money and they put it into the thing that they do think is safe. So if you're not the safest, highest earning thing, they move on to the other safest, highest earning thing. And this is exactly why you have places all over the world that are third worlds, right? They're really poor countries with not really that much welfare for anyone. Nobody's really moving there. People usually, like your smartest people are moving out, really. People are leaving, right? You know what I mean? It's a big deal if the smart people in your country are leaving, because then who's going to stay behind and be engineers for your people? Well, nobody. They're off in America, right? So, oh my God, skeleton horsemen. Let's get these skeleton horsemen. So security is a really big one. So yeah, I agree. The whole issue with becoming a doctor being so expensive is actually a big problem. It doesn't just make it unlikely for there to be a lot of new doctors in the future, but also just the fact that, just the fact that healthcare is going to be so expensive, too. Does he take more damage on his back? No, I'm getting crits or something like that. Oh, his attack doesn't reach behind him, though. Whew. Picked up a soul healer. Cool. We're going real fast these days, aren't we? What is the point of this area, I wonder? Do Pokestocks. That's right. I'm your financial advisor. I'm a licensed financial advisor. I'm gonna get Popeye, so that makes me feel better now. Hell yeah. With YouTube, you're gambling your time for a possible payout. Yeah, sort of. I guess I don't really see it that way these days because my channel actually is successful. I guess, let me put it this way. You're right. You are gambling that there's going to be a payout. But at the same time, so is everyone who starts a business. So people will watch your YouTube videos if they're good. And that's it. Really, people aren't asking for you to be special. They're asking for your content to be good enough for them to watch. And so if you don't got the skill, you're not gonna make the product, and then people are not gonna watch it. And you're right, there's gonna be no payout. But if you've got the skill, the YouTube algorithm's actually pretty good. It is pretty good at detecting who's got the skill to make a video. So you're right. You know, if you went and you worked for Walmart, Walmart doesn't give a shit if you're that skilled. They're like, yeah, we got a job for you. Just put shit on a shelf. You see what I'm saying? And then you make a little bit of money. You never really challenge yourself beyond being some Walmart employee. You know, you move bread around. You're really not that important to the economy is one of the things I realized. Because if you disappeared from the economy, there'd be less bread pushers, and there'd be less people buying bread. But most of the growth in an economy comes from innovation, not from moving loaves of bread around at a Walmart. So, yeah, you're right. Getting a job at Walmart would technically be safer, and maybe getting some mediocre middle manager job would be safer. Starting a business will make you rich, and there's no guarantee that your business will succeed. But that's why you make the good money. And that's why your employees who push the bread around don't make as much money, because they didn't take the risk. They didn't make the product. And this is why it's always so annoying when people get, they get really ticked off that you got CEOs making millions of dollars, but providing, some of the best services in the world out there. So, I hate that he makes so much money. It's like, yeah, go start your own business then. You live in one of the best countries in the whole world to start a business. Speaking of investing, I'm about to invest in some stocks for the first time. Any tips? Oh, first of all, congratulations. Everyone should learn how investing works. Everyone has to invest money. You need to save money, you need to invest money, because when you're an old man, which one day we all will be, we'll all be old someday, you want to be able to go and relax on the beach. You don't want to beg for your children to pay for your stuff because you didn't save any money when you were young and you had energy and you had the ability to work. You didn't save any money when you were young, so now you're old and you're desperate for money, so you got to beg your children for money. You don't want to be in that situation. So everyone listening right now, You need to go out and you need to make the decision to be a millionaire. You need to make that decision. You need to be, up, that's going to be me. Or these days with inflation, you probably need even more than that. I don't know what it is anymore, but you probably need to be a multimillionaire. So you need to make that decision. So when you get older, you know, you can live in luxury, first of all, from the fruits of your hard work. And then also, you don't have to, you can retire with dignity, basically. So those are very important ideas. So if you've decided to invest, that's good, and you really shouldn't give up until you're done. So your next question is, any tips? If you're wondering about which stock to buy, I would say don't try to become a day trader. If you're looking for something real simple, just buy a company that you think is never going to go wrong. Sometimes those are referred to as, I believe they're called blue chip stocks. So right now, a stock that's probably on the expensive side but very safe would be like Amazon stock. So you can just go buy like a stock or two in Amazon, or Walmart, or Target, or what's another company that's just doing so well and looks really bright in the future. There's tech stocks, like you could buy stock in Google, you can buy stock in Apple, you could buy stock in, what's another one? I don't know, Sony, I guess, if you wanted to. So you can buy stock even in your favorite game company. Just look up what their publishing, company is, and then buy stock in that publishing company. I did that with Capcom, by the way, guys. This last year I did that, and I made a couple $100s off of that. Funny enough, I sold the stock a few months after Iceborne came out. I sold them, and I made out with a couple $100, and then the economy crashed, so it got really lucky for me that way. But yeah, so it's really not too complicated. If you're looking to make more of a safe investment, and if you're brand new to investing, probably that is what you want to do, is make a safe investment. And so you would probably choose something like, again, Amazon's pretty good. Think about what business you think is going to do well in the future, because that's what investing really is all about. It's about buying into a company that you think is going to do well in the near future. And I don't think there's any doubt that Amazon's a pretty safe bet. But Walmart's also a pretty safe bet. There's no indication at all that Walmart's in trouble. But it could even be places like Pepsi. Pepsi's pretty safe. Coca-Cola's probably pretty safe. Oh, let's smack this guy. The problem is, because they're so safe, they tend to be overpriced as well. But that's not such a bad problem, because when it comes to investing, you can always decide to take your money back out. So that's just something a lot of people don't really think too much about. Is why they avoid investing. But investing, when you want your money back, you just sell the stock. And it's very easy to sell stock. It's not complicated at all. Keep smacking these guys with the hammer. Where are we going? Oh, we got some coins over here. Well, TGC, see ya. Gotta write this story now. I should let people hire me out to write their essays at school for them. I was actually always a really, really good writer. I could write super fast. Better grab this. What about USPS stock or UPS? I would not buy any stock in USPS. I don't even know if you can. They're owned by the federal government. Can you actually invest in USPS? I don't know if you can. I would not be investing in them right now. They're kind of asking for like a federal bailout. So they're not in the best condition. UPS, I mean, UPS is probably doing pretty well. UPS and FedEx, they're probably pretty safe. They're two pretty central, important companies. You can ask yourself which one's doing better than the other. Probably fluctuates from time to time, who knows. One of the important questions to ask yourself is which company you think is about to grow. Because when a company grows, that's a good sign, and it means that the value of your stock will go up, because people will start demanding more from the company, because the company is going to become more profitable. Because usually a company only grows when it can afford to grow. I guess there's cases where companies grow where it's not a good thing. USPS isn't government owned anymore, I thought. Yeah, they're still government owned. Pretty sure. Yeah. USPS. I was just naming some big business that someone could invest in. I'm not sure personally. Let me tell you one thing though, guys. You know what's worse than investing in maybe a mediocre company? What would be even worse than that is if you did not invest at all. Because when your money sits around not working for you, then you're just becoming poorer. And the reason for that is because there's this thing called inflation. Inflation causes the value of your money to go down over time, and is caused by, honestly, by the printing of money. So, well, it's caused by more than just the printing of money. It's a little more complicated than that. It's about the availability of money in the market. So it's more about the availability of money, like how much does it cost to take out a loan. But generally, there's always a small amount of inflation causing the value of money to decrease over time. And this is on purpose. The government actually intentionally causes a little bit of inflation because they don't want people to hold on to their money. So there's always a little bit of inflation. What do we got here? Reinforced mail, and it says it's an improvement. Beat up all these guys. What do we got? So we got a few more of these over here. Invest in potatoes. I believe you can actually. I think there's you can invest in farmland crops. Did you know that? That's pretty cool, right? You can invest in beans. That's a real thing, I'm pretty sure. Basically, the way that works, there's a term for it. I can't remember what it's called. Is it a commodity? I can't remember. It's like commodity investing. And what it refers to is, well, basically the farmer has a lot of risk actually being a farmer. There's no guarantee that his crop is going to turn out to be really good this year. And so what he does in order to hedge his risk is he offers for you to buy into the crop. He lets you buy into it. And so if the crop ends up being real good, then you make money. And if the crop ends up being real bad, you lose money. And then the farmer, he just makes whatever you bet. And he's okay with this because for him, this allows him to farm more consistently with lower risk. So he doesn't mind that he might not earn as much if the crop was good, because if something goes wrong, he doesn't go bankrupt, which is really dangerous for a farmer, right? Yeah, so you can actually invest in beans, you can invest in potatoes. That's a real thing. Invest in my mad beets. Smack this guy. Where do you think you're going? Little piggy? Little oinker? What do we got over here? Nothing? Futures. Futures investing. Maybe that's what it was. Keep shooting these guys. Everybody watching my live streams, my audience, you guys need to go get rich. It's in my best interest. You guys got to be rich so that you can come back and leave me a tip. You can be like, thank you for the advice on becoming rich. Just remember me. When you become a millionaire, come back and let me know. The game was decent at first, but I found it was too easy. Also, you kind of see everything in the first 3 hours. I see what you're saying. I have a suspicion they're going to support this game kind of like the way they support regular Minecraft. I think probably they learned that this sort of style of game where you just put out updates forever and ever is a style that they probably want to pursue more. That's my guess. All the enchanted monsters are gone. How's it going, Ashraf? There it is. All we got was green plate armor. So let's see what we got here. We got 104. It comes with the thorns. No. No. Yeah, no. Does this have affinity on it? No, it doesn't. There's deflect, snowball. There's deflect thorns. I mean, that's interesting. I actually really like the armor set we have going right now. I'm not sure if it could be improved. So when you become rich and shout out, so shout you out, do we say Gameconomist Dork gave me this awesome advice? We will say zippity-doo-dah. Question, please. Any idea for investing on a country with bad economic models, a country that isn't a home of large producing companies? Yeah, great question, man. Basically, you're not forced. Actually, I'm not sure about this. I was gonna say you're not forced to invest in your own country. A lot of people from foreign countries invest in other countries, right? So if you're able to find out how to invest in other countries, and this is actually good for your country anyways, because let's say you were to invest in an American country or maybe like a UK company or whatever, right? And that company does well, because you're invested in it, if you're living in the country that doesn't really have a producing country, you still made money as if you did live in a producing country. This is one of the reasons why the world is becoming more flat. The world is becoming, what is the word? I can't remember the word for it. Not industrialized. Basically, what I mean is the world's becoming more even. That's what the meaning of the word is. Because you can live in a poor country and invest in a wealthy country and then become wealthy. Is there going to be another one of oh, there's another one right here, huh? Ah, darn. I was hoping for infinity on this. We don't see infinity. We see radiance, disenchant, gravity, multi-shot. Or is that rapid fire? I think multi-shot is on the last one. That's too bad. Alright, we'll get rid of it. That one doesn't even have 3 abilities on it. Alright, so these guys, look at the map formations for this. So those map formations are really clear, and that's where the doors are. Map formations are really important in this game because they tell you where the good stuff is. And when the map spawns in, there appear to be the same rewards every time. The same, like, secret areas. You know what I mean? So what are we looking for in here? Is this the area we're looking for? I see the point, but if I invest on another country but get my income on my country, the tax will really make it unworthy. Oh, I didn't think of that. Does your country do that? So if you invest in, like, let's say an American company, if you invest in an American company, will the tax rate be really, really high? Like, how high of a tax rate are we talking? Because in America, the tax rate on capital gains, last time I heard about it, it was like 15%. What are the capital gains in your country? What are the capital gains tax in your country is what I'm trying to say. Man, that's just sad. You know what that tells you is you need to leave. This is why people still come to places like America. Although that'll change. That'll change when the Democrats make everything super high tax. What'll happen is people will start going more to the UK, I think. It's America, everyone's angry over here. We don't even like each other. Have you ever looked into the lore of Minecraft? Just curious. I've never looked into the lore of Minecraft. I didn't think there was Minecraft lore. Oh, nope, not this. What's this over here? A chest over here? Huh, I'm looking for that one area we found last time. Weird, does it not exist? Maybe it doesn't exist here. Have you ever looked into the lore of Minecraft? They must how offer the damage? 26% to any kind of product, physical or a service. Yeah, you know, actually one of the really interesting things I've learned from my Pokemon card channel, I do a lot of shipping because people will, what they'll do is they'll buy like a pack of cards and then I'll ship their cards over to them in their country. And we'll get international buyers from Sweden. And what happens is when I ship to Sweden, there's an import tax. And I've never even heard of that before because as an American, we just don't have that. You can sell me something from your country and I don't pay any additional taxes on it. And the reason your country has taxes like that is to try and stop you from buying things from America. And I think that that's really, really ridiculous. And if your country has a high import tax or it has a high, tax to stop you from investing, really that's your government stealing from you. It's your government stealing from you. And people are supposed to say no to that. That was the whole reason America got started. People act like America gets started for one reason or another. Is a bunch of white guys from Britain who moved over here to be free, and then they found out that the British government doesn't, they don't want them paying low taxes on like tea or whatever. They want to tax everything real high, and they're like, well, we're all the way over here in these colonies. We don't even get to have a say in what happens in our own country. We're just taxed by you across the ocean. And then what did they do? They went to war, murdered a bunch of people, and now we pay lower taxes than the UK. And the UK, they can't even beat China. The UK's been around for so long, they can't beat China. It's really sad. I find it really, really sad that the UK is not doing better economically, and I think that they should, I don't know what to tell them. I actually like the UK a lot. That's why I'm critical. I'm a big fan of the UK. I've thought about moving there myself. Weird. There's like a glitch where if you hit him early enough, he loses a bunch of his health. This is an easy boss, man. Have you ever looked into the lore? You can turn off your damage numbers. But yeah, so if your country's not letting you invest the way you want to invest, I find that really terrible. And the best thing you can do, honestly, is try to move. I think that people, people try to vote, and voting isn't always the most effective way to get things done. I think that one of the most effective way you can vote is with your feet. Find out where you want to live based on what your thoughts are on taxes and what your thoughts are on freedom and stuff like that. Find out what you like and what you think works best, and then just move to the place that offers that instead of sticking around in the place that you currently live and getting mad at everyone. We got, in America right now, we have the protesters saying they want to defund the police and all that. Well, go find a place where there's no cops, they don't allow cops, and then, or go find a place where you think the cops are just better, and then go move to that place. I'm not telling them they have to anyways. That's my point of view. I will probably be doing that myself. I mean, I intend to. My wife and I talk about it almost every day. We talk about where we'd like to live, you know what I mean? I want to move to a place where I feel good. Dutch says, TGC, my daughter-in-law just moved here from the UK. She loves being here. Very cool, man. Your daughter-in-law? From the UK. I like the UK a lot. I do like America. I like Germany a lot. I'd like to see more of Germany. They got Oktoberfest. Heck yeah. Man, we have not gotten even one good bow. How hard is it to actually get good weapons out of this? So in this map, Fiery Forge, there's multiple pig chests. There's 2 caves for you to go looking for stuff. Excuse me, and one of the caves will actually have a black chest in it. And there's a boss to fight at the end who also drops a reward. Zephyro says, sorry, I meant the tax for in-country purchases. Also, you got to shop in my country. The tax is 26%. Aside that, you pay a yearly tax based on income and an in-front for the next year, but we get import tax as well. Yeah, so Zephyros, it's really crazy how much modern governments tax people and how little we speak up about it. When you think about it, just in America, you will pay half of all the money you make to the government for your entire life. And the craziest part is that's America. That's in America. You've got other countries where you pay even more than that. It's hard to believe even. How did it get so bad? And usually it gets bad like that because you get people who say, oh, you need to buy this for me, you need to buy that for me, oh, we need this project, we need that project, we need this built, oh, we need this, we need that. You know, it's just a bunch of people who say, go ahead and tax everyone, and then spend it on stuff that's good for me. That's basically all it is. And so your government keeps raising tax, and your government's happy to raise taxes, because the reason why is if you're living in a democracy, a so-called democracy, when a politician can say, hey, vote for me, I'll get you the stuff, that's a huge advantage for that politician. They're basically doing this thing called buying your vote. And it's a really terrifying problem, and I think it's a unique problem for democracies that a place like China doesn't actually have. And I think that it is one of the biggest weaknesses for democracies. If you get a politician who comes out and he's like, I'm going to get you all the stuff, you just have to vote for me, and I'll buy you this, I'll buy you that. They get elected, they increase what the government spends, and then you're poor, and you're like, why do I spend more than half of my income on taxes? Because your mom and your dad voted for free stuff. That's why. Your mom and your dad voted for stuff. And the government's incompetent with money, and they're terrible with money. That's why, especially here in America, not all countries have governments who are incompetent with money, but here in America especially, the government's really bad with money. Just really, really bad. But it's not just America either. There's plenty of modern countries that are also struggling. Actually, that's one of the things my wife and I look at. We look at which countries are doing well with their money, like which ones are going heavily into debt and which ones aren't. Oh my God. Can you take a guess where I'm from? I don't know. Zimbabwe. I'm just picking a name out of the thin air. You're from. What's your name? Zephyros? I have no clue. I'm trying to glean like maybe a guess from your name. Alright, we got a little chest here. People will pay over their lifetime half of their income. Half of everything you earn goes into a tax pocket, into a tax coffer. Maybe that's the term I'm looking for. And you guys aren't outraged by it, and that's why they get away with it. You should be like super outraged. No one should be allowed to do that to you. That's ridiculous. There we go. Yeah, kill those little priests in the back first. You literally described my country's issue. Oh my gosh. Well, I described your country's issue because it's the same issue everywhere. You get people who are at the bottom of they're at the bottom of society. They're poor. They're unhappy. And there's a lot of them. And the reason there's a lot of people at the bottom of the hierarchy is because, I don't know, it's hard to be successful. And the reason it's hard to be successful is because you got to actually have some skill, and you got to be, I think the hardest part is you got to be willing to sacrifice. And I think that for human beings, it's in your nature not to sacrifice. It's in your nature to be comfortable. You know what I mean? You wake up, when we're babies and we don't have what we want, what do? We cry. When we're adults and we don't have what we want, what do? We ask for more government spending. It's the same thing. Nothing changed. It's just the same thing. It's in your human nature. But you have to be smarter than a baby. And it turns out the people who are smartest, they go off and they start businesses. And then they make enough money where they go, no, I don't want the government to tax the shit out of me. That's my money. So those are the smart people. And the stupid people go, well, I need more free stuff, please. This is they'll say something about, oh, this is systemic. Oh, the government failure. It's like, no, the government's not your mommy and your daddy. The government's job is just to provide you with safety. It's your job to go out and take care of yourself, especially when you're young. Like, I get it. People get older, and then they need help with things. Maybe they got unlucky in life, and that's where charities step in and kind of help out. And it's also where we can do a little bit of charity work with your government as well. But the government is not there to be a charity in the end. The government is there to create a society, and the society has to be built on these concepts like people get to, keep the money that they earn. Ideas like that are really important because the more that's true in your country, the more odds you're going to attract high quality, highly skilled workers to your country. And the less true that is about your country, the more likely people are going to run away and go, I don't want to live in a country where I'm taxed 50% of all my income. It's a very interesting problem. It's a very interesting problem. People say they want social democracy, and I think social democracy can work, but I think it has to work under certain conditions. Man, this armor set's crazy good. What's the alternative, TCC? People can speak up as much as they want, but at the end of the day, someone needs to make a solution. America is a republic. People like to say this when they're trying to avoid the fact that America is a democracy. So America is a republic democracy. You still vote for your representatives. So this is a very common thing for like conservatives to say because, obviously the conservatives are big fans of like the electoral college. I am too, actually. I agree with the founding fathers on the concept of every state being equal. I think that's really important because it makes it so that the state that most people move to isn't just the most powerful state, which I think would be a little odd. There we go. Because where people move might be being affected by, do you have an ocean? You know what I mean? Do you have an ocean? Stuff like that. Equal representation in the union. Oh. TGC for president? That's right, TGC for president. The Democrats are like, we need to defund cops. You know what I would do? I would actually agree. We would go and we would defund the cops. But we would change a rule so that if you were one of the people who voted for defunding the cops, you can't move out of the city that you defunded. You will have to stay there and live in a copless society. No cops in your society. You want no cops, you get no cops. Right over here. You have gangs. Gangs will run the streets. I think it's already a problem like that. That already happens. Gangs running the streets. You don't want to go outside. You're gonna get shot. I live right next to St. Louis. Look it up, guys. St. Louis is the #1 most violent city. East Side St. Louis, the #1 for murders in the whole world. Not the whole world. I'm sorry, in all of America. And 13th in the world. Number 13. They want to defund the cops. They're fucking so stupid. I don't know why they're so dumb. So, okay, if you want to change the training for the cops, no chokeholds, right? All that makes sense. But defund the cops is just like, I don't know. I say we give it to them. I say we defund the cops. We just move them out of there, move them to the countryside. And but you can't leave your city once you've defunded the police in your city. You're not allowed to move. Smack these guys up. I agree with the founding fathers on the idea that not everyone should get a say in everything. Believe it or not, that is the system they were trying to set up. Well, and probably what you're referring to is the fact that the founding fathers said you had to have skin in the game in order to vote. And so their original idea for voting was you don't vote unless you're a landowner, which today would roughly translate to something like you don't get to vote unless you are a net tax contributor. Okay, that would probably make a little more sense. Because nowadays, not everyone wants to own land. Maybe you want to live on like an apartment, which is fine. But if you're not paying taxes and you're just the recipient of welfare, why are you allowed to vote? Your interests are not, they're not fair at all. It doesn't make any sense. You don't vote. I mean, I'm sorry, you get to take everyone else's money, and then you also get to vote on taking everyone else's money. It's so ridiculous. It's really crazy. Should be taxpayers. That's not a radical idea. That's just about being fair. You're the person who pays the taxes, so you should be the one deciding how the taxes get spent. And let's say you have somebody who does not pay the taxes, so it's literally not their money, and they're the ones who get to decide how it's spent. Please. That is a broken system. It is so broken. It's like we're trying to chase taxpayers out as soon as possible. Like, get out of here. We don't even like you. And the worst part is people don't even like each other. Imagine having to pay taxes to somebody who openly hates you. You know what I mean? If you got somebody who hates you, why are you paying for their shit? You would never do that in a relationship. Imagine being married to a girl who hates you, but also you buy all her stuff for her. That's stupid shit. Nobody would do that. You only see it in government because, of course, it's in government. Alright, see these people who you despise? Go ahead and buy their stuff. That's basically what happens. When you let people who... They're allowed to vote, but they don't contribute anything. That's exactly what happens. Very serious subject, I would say. That's like at the heart of it. You know, people talk about... let's go back to that thing about, you know, the Scandinavian countries. They like each other over there. They get along. And then, you know, they pay high taxes, and that's okay with them. They don't mind. I don't know if I would, in particular, if I would want to live in a country where you pay such high taxes. Because one day I'd like to be wealthy. But, you know, if everyone's getting along, and your grandma and your grandpa need help with health care, and you want your kid to go to school, yeah, okay, but as long as we like each other, that's fine. But if you are living in a country where everyone hates each other, why the frick would you be paying for everyone else's shit? They don't even like you. It makes zero sense. You're like a huge cuck or something. It makes no sense. See this person? They hate you. Also, pay for their stuff. Makes no sense, guys. Not what your grandpa would want. Not what your ancestors would want, I would say. Your ancestors would want you to fight for yourself. Yeah, go ahead and just lie down, roll over, have them tax the shit out of you. Simps would do that. That's exactly right. Simps would do that. Simps who have never done anything difficult in life and they're afraid of confrontation would do that. Solution for countries where all political groups are bad? No matter for who you vote, they make one good thing from the 10 they said, and the rest 9 they make them worse. Yeah, that's another interesting problem. I guess you could argue that America has a little bit of that as well. You know, Donald Trump became president in, what was it, like 2016, and it was very controversial. But who were our other choices? Who were the other choices? You had Hillary Clinton, who she literally, so she gets caught in this lie about the Benghazi lie, and they want to investigate her, and she physically destroys a bunch of email servers, and nobody does anything about it. It's just like, yeah, she can do that. She just physically delete evidence. She smashes up her cell phone. Like, what? How is this not a bigger deal? And at first I thought it was just like this thing that the conservatives were upset about. I'm like, oh, the conservatives, they're always trying to do shit like this. I thought it was just a conservative thing. No, it's a real thing. It's a real issue. I couldn't believe it. I was like, how is anyone allowed to get away with this? And I kind of understood at that point why the conservatives were so angry over it. So wait a second. So are there no caves this time around? Maybe there's no caves this time around. The highest tax in Germany is 50%. Yeah, imagine working your ass off every day. You're a productive, hardworking citizen, and you pay 50% of everything you earn. Your stuff. It is yours. That's private property. And you give it to the government. You better agree with whatever the government's spending that money on, if that's going to be the case. And I think that's the case, actually, a lot of the time in places where people don't mind paying the high taxes. It's usually because they agree with what is being spent on. But maybe you have... I don't know how Germany... I don't know a lot about German politics. I don't know how unified you guys feel. But I'm over here in America, and right now people pretty much hate each other. They're complete... I think America's... If this was the 1800s again, we would just go straight to war again. We're ready for another war. I think people hate each other that much. They would be happy to go to war. They'd be like, oh, finally we can go to war. Yeah, I think people would be happy to go to war right now. They'd be like, oh, this is exactly what I was wanting. Well, we kill this guy real fast. The highest tax in Germany is 50%. Yeah, that's pretty high, man. Weird, it seemed like those areas weren't there like they normally were. Place like Japan, right? A lot of unity in Japan. They probably don't care if they pay high taxes. They'd be like, it's for the good of my country. America's not like that anymore. Well, I don't know if America ever was like that. People in America are more like, how can we get away from each other? Unfortunately, I've got to go. Thanks for the investing advice. Peace out. See you later, man. Which states would fail if they all were independent? What do you mean by that, Symphonia? Are you talking about in America which states would fall apart? That's a good question. Actually, if you want to talk about state debt, if you want to talk about which states in America have the highest amount of debt, here's the interesting thing about debt in America. So not only do we have this thing called the federal government debt, that's where we have like two layers of government, right? We got local government and then we got federal government. Federal government's like the government that reigns over all the 50 states, right? So this is the big boy. So we got federal debt and then we got state debt. States, the little, the 50 different states. And the states that have the most debt are pretty much all the Democratic ones. They're all in massive amounts of debt. And because of COVID, it was getting so bad, they were telling Donald Trump, you're going to have to bail us out. And he's like, no, we're not. You're not going to force the other states to bail you out. That's silly. So that was a conversation that was being had before all the riots broke out, or whatever, the cop shooting thing happened. Only Texas will survive. Nervous system says Cali. California is one of the highest debt states in the union. Its debt is so high, they were one of the states saying they're going to need a bailout. Creek says, not really anymore. People are more considering with bring up stuff that happened 400 years ago. Cali would be fricked. Yeah, actually, my wife and I were looking at places to move, and some of the nicer places to move, successful Californians are already moving out of California to get into those states, driving up the cost of living there too. So people are fleeing California. It's a country in massive debt, not country, a state in massive debt. And if all of your productive citizens leave, your middle class, you're going to be in an even worse situation. Holy cow, man. Oh man, look at all these spiders. Let's squish them. God is punishing California with hellfire, literally. Oh my god. Should people be able to benefit from one location debt and then move debt-free? That is actually an excellent question, Symphonia. So basically what you're asking is, should Californians vote to put their state into massive amounts of debt with welfare, and then once the state's a terrible place to live, should they go crowd out a nice conservative state? And that's one of the irritating things my wife and I were thinking about, because it's like, we're looking at nice places to live, and these nice places are having this phenomenon where people from California are fleeing to them and making them not so nice to live anymore. They're basically just turning them into another California, and it's funny. It's weird because they're literally fleeing California because of how shit it is to live there now. But it's like they bring their ideology with them. So it's a tough question. You know, it's funny, when all the protesting started and all that, I was just doing a bunch of reading, and there was this article on, it was like The Guardian or something like that, and they were talking about how this far-right extremist suggested that Americans, diversity doesn't work, and Americans don't want diversity, and we should have like designated states for people of different races. And I thought to myself, that would never work. The reason it would never work is because if one state was more successful than another state, what would happen is everyone would want to migrate to that state. And we already have that occurring at more of a national level. The worst part is that they ruined their state, now they're bringing the same policies into other states like Texas. Well, yeah, Texas is going to get flipped over and be a blue state soon. Can you believe that? It's so crazy because it was like famously known for being conservative. Throw this over here. Yeah, I'm a fan of this mushroom. This mushroom's crazy. Just in terms of raw DPS, the mushroom is definitely a winner. He's gone. So let's see, where are we at? So that little structure down there definitely does not have the little caves in it. Let's come up here. Well, I know, that's the funny thing. It's weird. He says conservative states should have their own walls. It's like, I don't really like the idea of that, but it's, how do you, I think it's really is a modern problem. It's a problem of the future that nobody really has an answer to yet, and really I think the answer is to maintain a meritocracy. That's the most important issue here. The issue that we're talking about, of course, is with people having cell phones and being so capable of moving around now, how do you kind of not, how do you offer like strong welfare and socialism for the people that have lived in your society, paying taxes this whole time, maybe for generations paying taxes? How do you just stop the world's homeless people, or maybe the state's homeless people, from moving around? How do you stop people from just moving from one place to the next that pays the most welfare? That's actually, I think that's a very modern problem that we're experiencing today. Your country offers, let's say, really welfare benefits, okay? And so people around the world that are living in kind of bad societies are going, well, that's the place I want to move to. And I don't fault them for this. This is a very, that's a very normal reaction. I would be having the same reaction. I'd be like, that's where I'm going to move to. And the question is, how much of that should you have, and how do you decide who comes and who goes? Well, if you look actually at the UK, they do already kind of discriminate. What they do is they say, you can't come here and take a job from somebody who already lives here, and you have to have evidence that you can support yourself. And so that would be exactly what Donald Trump was introducing in America. He's saying, let's do that in America. We're going to have immigration, but it's going to be based on merit. And the Democrats were so upset with this that they're like, man, we need to take this to the Supreme Court. That's America's top court, right? They were so mad at the idea that you shouldn't be allowed to move to America and go immediately onto welfare, which is in my point of view, that is a common sense way of thinking in 2020, right? The Democrats, I think the Democrats get a lot of their votes from poor people who are looking for welfare. And so they go, well, we don't support that because we actually want people to come here and be dependent on welfare and vote for us because we're the ones who hand it out. I think that's their point of view. And for people who already live here and we're already in the middle class, already paying most of the taxes, that's a terrible idea. So it's a common sense idea to say you can't move here and immediately move on to welfare. We're already in debt. We have loved ones who can't afford their education and their medicine already, and the idea that you'll just move straight in and start receiving money from our tax dollars is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And it wouldn't be allowed in your country, probably. You know, if your country was experiencing the same problem, it wouldn't be allowed. They'd stop that shit right away. They'd be like, nah, that's not gonna happen here. There's a lot of guilting that goes on, you know what I mean? There's an awful lot of guilting that goes on. I think a lot of the guilting just comes down to people trying to obtain more power and more money. My little brother would enjoy this, I think, and I too. Speaking on the issue of Minecraft dungeons. We purchased some land out in the sticks. Best decision ever, says Dutch. My wife and I have thought about that. We've thought there's a few places we'd be interested in living. First of all, certainly not the city. Sadly, because I feel like my wife and I actually would be the kind of people who would enjoy the city. But we just, because of the crime rate, if you look at simple statistics like murder, theft, not theft, but like mugging, murder, theft, and rape is so bad in the city compared to the rest of the country that you wouldn't want to move to an American city. And most people, to be fair, most people live in the city and it never happens to them, but you're just much more like, if it was going to happen to you, your best odds of it happening would be as if you did move to the city. So we're going by odds, we're going by numbers, right? All right, here's another reward. And so we're either going to move to a countryside or to a gated community, which probably will take a long time because apparently they're expensive, which I think is the whole point of them. I think the gated communities are expensive on purpose. Or we're just going to move to another country where the cities don't have like crazy amounts of violence. Isn't that wild to think about? It's crazy to think in America you don't go to the cities because of the violence. Oh, we got something. The Nameless Blade. Here we go. 106. What is this? This deadly blade story was lost in the endless sands of time. Weakens enemy attacks. Okay, so they do less damage to you. You can get wounded, committed, critical hit, and sharpness. So it sounds like this weapon would be really good at single target damage. So like, let's say you're fighting a boss. Look at that. Is this a cutlass? I think this is a cutlass. The Faro says, actually here this is happening. Low and middle class citizens cannot support their homes and the government accepted war refugees and gave them money. I mean, of course help some, but when you can. Well, yeah, I agree. But here's one of the craziest things. Well, I mean, we could talk about this subject all day, honestly. I think that the war refugees is a terrifically difficult situation, and people should come together to help them. The question is, do they all need to move into your country right away? And I feel like probably not, because it's not like their country will be torn up forever. They just need temporary living for a while, and then they can move back to their own home if they want. Well, assuming that they want to, but I imagine they would want to. Something tells me that you came from Germany. Woo. There are whores everywhere, TGC. I'm a Navy vet. Seen the world. Trust me. Did you say whores? With whores comes everything else? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Look at this. Oh my gosh. Oops, sorry, I wasn't paying attention. Just wondering how this weapon would feel after enchanting it. I don't want to enchant it unless I'm going to use it. I guess what I need to see is if weakening actually works on bosses. How's it? Oh, Symphonia saying, hi, nice to meet you to somebody else. What are your thoughts on this game? Thinking about picking it up. It's been pretty good. I like it. I think it has promise. I think right now it's probably a little light on content, as most games seem to be. but it did just launch. Level up. So you keep leveling up so that you can take more weapons and upgrade them and have different builds. That's the point of leveling up. Greece, I noted that on upper... Oh, okay, so Greece has a lot of issues with lots of refugees. And Greece actually did have a lot of financial problems because of government overspending. Okay, so that makes sense. Yeah, you guys are like ground zero for the like mass migration to Europe. You guys take on tons of immigrants. Wait, where were we going? We were going this way. He's closed the boundaries, so now they remain here. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. What happened, guys? So for those of you who don't really understand what's going on, there was a basically kind of there was this point where the Syrian refugee reaches its climax, and people are really suffering and dying, and it's really terrible. And then Germany says, yeah, we got the money, send them all in. And the people get the message. And then not just from Syria, but from all around the world, people are moving over to Germany. And not just Germany, but other places in Europe. These are first world countries where you have security, you have a pretty nice quality of living, you have welfare, where you will, if you're poor, they just give you money. That's the way welfare works. Oh, you're poor, here's some free stuff. And then finally, you know, they're saying we're open to immigrants now, get in here. So you see this mass migration to Germany, not just from the country that needed it the most, Syria, which really they did need it, but just from all around the world. And this becomes a big problem because the immigrants start coming in from not just, they come in on these huge boats to Greece, and they start traveling all throughout Europe, Eastern Europe. You know, places like Hungary started putting up a wall, literally. They built a wall, and it was effective at stopping this. So it was, you know, he gets, the Orbit guy, or whatever the heck his name is, he gets called, like, far right or something like that now, because, basically because he said, no, we're not open to immigrants, and now he's evil, right? And that's the game, isn't it? The game is to call people evil if they say, no, this is my home, your home's over there. You call somebody evil for saying that, and I think it's basically the most important issue right now in the world when it comes to modern politics. Is the whole reason that Donald Trump won. I don't even think he was like that good of a candidate, but he actually touched on the subject that people care about the most. And I think a lot of conservative politicians were too scared to touch on it because they don't want to be called names. Dark armor. Let's see what it's got. Illager Royal Guard, huh? How about this exploding crossbow? It does have infinity, and it has the bonus shot, but it doesn't have a third enchantment. We'll wait for the third enchantment. Thorns. Double thorns, huh? Double thorns. That's interesting. Oh, I wish there was a way to lock equipment the way you can lock equipment in Destiny. I feel like that's something they'll need to add to this game right away. Oops, I didn't mean to activate that. Oh god. Greece, I noted that on upper messages, no, the refugees don't want to move, they want to pass on to Europe for better. Oh, right, alright. I already read that one. Cheese, you cannot be mod. It's crazy, if you can kill the monsters fast enough, you end up with a bunch of food anyways. It's a gray line. I would love to help them with all my heart, but sometimes I can sometimes I can't afford my rent, and that's the majority here. Over 80% of Greeks are struggling, but I'm evil. Well, exactly. They call you. Well, that's part of the game. That's part of the game. The game is to call you a racist if you expect to not pay a ton of welfare to people who are poorer than you. They go, oh, well, we're poorer than you, so that's immoral of you to want to not have to buy us things. And I don't think it's immoral at all. Keep smacking this guy. All right, we need to test this. So does this work on him? Oh, it does work on him. Look at this. So weakening works on bosses. Interesting. So that's going to be a great weapon for taking down bosses. There's multi-shot. What is this? So let's see. Multi-shot grants the chance to fire 5 arrows. Has a chance to fire 5 arrows in all directions, and then punch. I think that punch kind of ruins it. My guy died. Ah, well, let's just get moving. Amnesia says France has the same problem. Lots of migrants wanting to go to the UK can't end up staying. Yellow vests happen. Selective immigration is the way to go. At least those applying really want to come. Well, and, you know, immigration's a good thing. I actually agree with that. I always have. I think that one of the best things about immigration is you get people from other countries who the reason they want to move to your country is because they like your culture and they like your values and they want to contribute and they want to be, you know, your neighbor. But I think there's this whole other new class of immigrant that says, wait a second, my country sucks. I'm coming to your country. I don't like anything in your country, but I want the money because your country is just a marketplace to them. And this is a very I strongly disagree with that kind of immigration because I don't know, the world should be watching, honestly, I feel like the world should be watching America and seeing how divided we are and realize that's going to be your country next. Your country, this is going to be you next. We're going to be you're going to be having tons of riots and hate and anger, and I just think that people get along better when they share similar ideology and when they share similar political views. But the political views in America are so strongly divided and so irreconcilable, meaning that there's just no way we'll ever see the same point of view, that now you just live in this constant propaganda war from both sides. You got the news media trying to propagandize you, and you've got it's to the point where I think people do want some kind of war. I really do. I think people are that angry and dislike each other that much. And so I think that people from other countries like France should be looking at it and realizing you're next. This will be you in a short amount of time. You know? Where's my hammer? And I think that'll be really tough in your country because you're supposed to be French. You won't be French. Same with the UK. You're supposed to be British. You won't be British. You'll be whatever it is whatever it is the politicians tell you are. Isn't that one of the slogans of the whole when Britain was trying to do the whole Brexit thing, Britain for the British? I wonder how you're not. You would get you would get crucified for saying something like that in America. America for Americans. You will get skewered for that. And it just shows you the nature. To me, it's all a power struggle. It's a power struggle. Who gets to live where? Who gets to have what? That's a power struggle. It's very natural. It just happens throughout all of human existence. It's like, how do societies go from one society to another? Well, you take it. That's how it works. It's always been that way. You take it. You take what you want. There's no rules on taking. It's just whoever's stronger. That's it. And you know, if somebody's taking your shit, you're supposed to stand up and fight over it, not lay back and be like, oh, I'm so sorry for you. Oh, here, you can have my wife, you can have my home, you can have my, right? It's huge cut time for people, I feel. That's where this joking term beta male comes from, but I feel like there's some truth to it. I feel like there's some truth to it, which is very often how memes work, right? The reason memes are so successful isn't just because they sound funny, like the term boomer, because they have a little bit of truth to them as well. There's a little bit of truth to that whole beta male, alpha male stuff that I'm often joking about. Beta male, right? It's like, yeah, well, that's what everyone's turning into very quickly. Here, take all my shit. I'm so sorry for you. Here, virtue signal. You're a virtue signaling idiot is what you are. You're gonna be homeless like them in a very short amount of time. People don't. You're discouraged from being. You're discouraged from being competitive. You're discouraged from being aggressive. And then what happens is the actual competitive, aggressive people come in and take your shit. And that's the way of the world. That's how the whole world has worked. That's how. It's not a religious thing. It's not a political thing. It's a biological thing. You know. It's how nature works. You just kind of lie back and take it. It's a disappointing thing for me, honestly. You got feminist men. What does that even mean? It's crazy. What's a beta male? Beta male. A beta male is anyone who doesn't hit that like button. Smack these guys. "80% joke, 20% truth equals meme." Well, yeah, exactly. Go ahead and grab this. Oops, we're gonna fall down there. TGC, do you recommend any stand-up comics? Louis C.K. He's pretty awesome. Let me think. Stand-up comics. Who have I listened to recently? Oh yeah, there's this guy from the UK actually. What is his name? He's a tall, thin, red-headed guy. I don't remember his name though, actually. James Acaster. I really enjoy James Acaster. I think he's really good. I like the other guy too. He's older. Terrible with name, guys. I apologize. Ricky Gervais. He's really good. I do actually like C.K. Lewis. Jim Gaffigan's he's pretty fun. His jokes are like social commentary, but they usually don't focus on anything too important. He's more like family-friendly fun. You know what I mean? Which is fine. You gotta have family-friendly fun. You can't just be outraged all the time. Or can you? It's the new way of life. Just constant outrage. Run over here. I'm alpha for sure then. I like how the likes went up by like 2 after I said that, but that's it. Beta. No, I'm just kidding. Let's run over here. Oops. Problem is, people laugh it off when you raise your concerns. Hope November doesn't end in a civil war. Oh man. I feel like people in America are ready for it. They want it. I think it is proof that, you know, bundling everyone together does not necessarily work. It doesn't work. It works if you all are unified, but I don't think we're actually unified. I think is pretty much the reason that not Americans, but the whole world is in constant war, It's because you get people of, I mean, even in like the Middle East, you have Muslims, right? But then the Muslims split into two groups, the Sunnis and the Shiites, and then they just kill each other. You know what I mean? They just, all right, let's go ahead and kill each other, right? Because they don't agree, and it's almost like, is almost too good at representing how humans are. Hey, see this guy who believes most of the same things you believe? Yeah, I don't like him. Let's kill him. That's basically humans in a nutshell. And I think that because we're idealists, we tell ourselves, well, we can host a society where everyone of every different belief can come here and, you know, we can still get along. But imagine if the people you actually are trying to get along with are people who hate your country specifically. That's like one of the, that should be like a fundamental part of entry right there. Do you actually love America? Nope. Oh, well then what are you doing here, you goof? You don't make no sense. Keep moving. So many bad guys in this area. I'm about to start the adventure mode of the game when I get back from work today, trying to get apocalypse mode by tomorrow. Nice. I like how some people actually still talk about the Minecraft game. Weird. I wonder how we got like 400 viewers last night. So strange. We had like 400 viewers for this last night, and I was testing this out to see if it would happen again in the day. Rawr. Alright, let's keep moving. Wait, there's like a little bonus area over here. I'm about to start the adventure. Oh, I already read that one. Now that you said that, is it my idea or is it a bit more modern to be on the edge constantly? No peace comments, or is it just more becoming an adult? What do you mean by that? I'm not sure what you mean. What are you referring to? Oh, we're out of arrows? How do we run out of arrows? I feel stripped of arrows. Ow. Dude, I hate the enchanted monsters. They're so annoyingly high health. Oh, there's supplies. Supplies! Just do 50,000 to that regular mob. Let's see, where are we? So we're at the part of the map where we have a bunch of... I'm looking at this other place. That's not where the exit is. Well... So we're at this part of the map. Let's go activate all these things. Wait, we gotta get that pig. Pig with the chest on his back. And we'll grab this one. And this one. What do we get? Reinforced mail. Alright, where are we? We go this way. I think we need to go all the way up here. Not referring to specific things, like in general. I have the feeling that the past few years, the whole world is overwhelmed and living on the edge, whatever this implies. Yeah. Maybe we're bored. It's because we're all waiting for that Monster Hunter Black Dragon to show up and we haven't seen it. No, I'm just kidding. No, but actually I think there is some reason for that. Probably the problem is that people are poor and they know it. People are poor and they're aware of it. They can see it on social media that they're poor. And they're like, hey, I don't want to be poor. And then you try to be wealthy and realize that you can't be wealthy because it's really hard to be wealthy. Like, wait a second, this isn't easy. And then, of course, there were actually some really fundamental changes with, there was mass migration to America and mass migration to, you know, Europe, to Western Europe, I should say specifically. The world's a really big place. Have you guys thought about that? Africa's huge. Africa's huge. South America's huge. There's a lot of land down there, like lots of rich, beautiful land. The UK is actually, in comparison, quite small. It's an island. Japan's small, right? Nobody gets mad at Japan because Japan has really strict immigration there too, right? You can't become a Japanese citizen or a permanent resident very easy at all. It's actually really hard to become a permanent resident of Japan. Nobody gets mad at them for this. Just the UK, just Europe. People get real mad at Europe for not letting them be permanent citizens. Oh my god, I died. People get real mad at them. And so there's all this mass migration all around the world to these very small strips of land, right? There's tons and tons and tons of land in Africa. It's really just this huge place. But nobody's like mass migrating to Africa. And then you have these places that are already pretty expensive to live in, and there's already really quite a competition for a good job and a good home. And there's mass migration into it, and it changes everything. It changes demographics, it changes voting, which is actually the big one, right? It changes who actually gets power during voting, and it changes things very quickly. And I think it's kind of ridiculous, actually. I think the whole thing is ridiculous. And if you were to say that, you know, you will get called a name because you got people who are poor who want your stuff, and that is their primary argument, is that you're racist, rather than this is your home and you weren't invited. Their primary argument is going to be, well, you don't like us because of the color of our skin. It's like, no, I don't like the idea of somebody who doesn't love my country for what it is coming in and changing the voter demographics. That would be not democratic at all, would it? It'd be a little bit like a nonviolent invasion almost. Let's move up here. Huh, he seems tougher. Is he taking less damage? Would you say that you're wealthy or just in debt? I'm in a lot of debt. I'm in student debt, and my wife's parents her mother had cancer, and this really, really did affect us financially. It was really tough, and we're still recovering from that, and probably in the next 2 years we'll be doing much better, but that'll be 2 years from now. So for now we're just kind of hanging tight and seeing if her mom stays healthy, you know what I mean? Darn. Another useless exploding crossbow. Imagine living in China and defending democracy. Let's move down here. But yeah, there were actually some really large changes in the world, Zephyros. So it's not like everyone just suddenly got angry. There were some really dramatic changes over the last 10 years. Zephyros says, so internet widened our eyesight, but not our culture, and that overwhelmed the world. I don't know what you mean by that. Maybe you could elaborate. Labrat says, would you say that you are wealthy or just in debt? I already answered that one. Sophronia says, imagine living in China. Hibana says, 2 years from now, TGC will have over 200,000 subs, hopefully. If only having a lot of subs meant making a lot of money. Oh, what are we going to do? Oh, snap. Flaming quiver. Dude, we just cannot get a good exploding crossbow. It's crazy. Who needs a friend on Dungeons? Black Dragon Lives Matter. That's right. HA says, I hope we don't go to war. Well, HA, I think we already kind of are in a war. It's a sort of non-violent war. And it's a non-violent war over propaganda, over ideology. You know, people, they'll buy into an ideology like it's a religion. They'll be like, this is how it is. It's only this way, even if data disagrees with me. And I would kill someone over this ideology, right? And that's another fundamental nature of human beings. So we are kind of already at a war. This is where war starts. War starts non-violently. It starts with ideas first, and then it moves into a physical confrontation. Here we go. Look at all these bad guys. Mercenary armor. How's it going, XDD? Dude, these crossbow guys would be destroying me normally. Oh, the explosive guy got me. I finished my story. There's always a chest at the beginning of this map. I wonder if you just spammed that chest if it would be faster. Sending positive vibes for your mother-in-law. I'm also paying off my loan I took out of school. Well, she apparently the cancer went into remission. She had stage 4 lymphoma cancer, which I learned is one of the better cancers to have because it's easier to treat. And it was just really expensive to treat it, and that was it. So it's been a really big financial problem, and she went in for testing, what was it, a few weeks ago, and they say there's no signs of the cancer returning for now. So far the signs have been good, but, you know, like a year now, my wife was considering whether she was just going to be losing her mom, you know what I mean? So it was pretty stressful. Yeah, I won't lie. There were a few days, you know, where we were actually having a lot of stress, and I don't always talk about it on the channel. Yeah, it's a pretty stressful thing. I think that there's places to leave out of over here. Oh, there's one right here, isn't there? Here we go. So let's see. We're looking for like a bridge that we can roll off of. There's a regular chest. Huh. Oh, wait, there's more over here. China was preparing to go to war during COVID. You can be sure they're keeping a close look at the U.S. internal strife that's rippling around the world. The U.S. internal strife. Jesus. Oh, I was not even paying attention. Zephyros says, mean with the internet, we see other countries, their wealth, their condition, we want to live there just for the sake of a better life, but we pay little attention to what really happens in other aspects. Well, I think that people look at other countries and they say, I want to live there because it's wealthy. But you don't actually share the culture and you don't share the identity of that country at all. And then you get there and you're able to vote and change the country from what it used to be to what you would like it to be. And the people who already live there notice this, of course, because they live there. And the people who live there, who made the country what it is, don't want it to change. They would like the country to remain the same. And then there's this big internal political fight that occurs. And it's really something that I hope that places like France and Britain are paying very, very close attention to, because it's you next. You're going to be the next country. You're already experiencing some of it, I'm sure, but you're next. Your country will be completely divided. Your politicians, everything will become about money to the politicians. Like, how are we going to take more money from people? How are we going to take more money and redistribute it? Those are the demands. The people who come here for money. It's I don't know, it's really frustrating. It's really frustrating. The lack of unity, the lack of shared political ideology, I think, is probably the biggest problem. There's some really strong ideas, and they mainly center around the same ideas that we've been struggling with since since the world had the world wars. Ideas like national socialism and communism and capitalism, democracy, stuff like that. It's the same ideas. They're all over again, still being hashed out. And I would say patriotism is falling in America. People think that the new cool hip thing to do is to hate your own country. It's like, well, you can hate the country you live in, but the country I live in, I want to live with neighbors who like their country. You see what I'm saying? So either you're going to move or I'm going to move, and I'm taking my taxpayer dollars with me. I'm not going to pay taxes to a country full of people who hate the country. I'm not going to buy them their things, you know what I mean? Like, here, you hate my country, but also you want me to pay for your shit. So I hope Britain and France kind of understand these kinds of concepts. If people are going to move in next to you, and you're going to be paying more than 50% of your income in taxes for your whole life, you better make sure that the people who move in next to you actually like you. If they don't like you, you need to stop that. You need to say, no, this is actually my home. You have to go back to your home. This home is for me. It's actually a very small island compared to your home. Your home's massive. So you guys can go back there and hate my country from over there, but if you come over here, you have to love us. It's, it's like, you think of it like any relationship. You wouldn't want to be dating a girl who hates you. Or guy, if you're a girl listening to this live stream today, you wouldn't want to move in with somebody who hates your guts. Just makes no sense. And I think that it's a modern problem. It's a problem the world has never really been confronted with too well. Not in the way that it is today, and I think that technology is a lot of it. We act like immigrating's this thing that only brave, hardworking people could possibly do. What are you talking about? We got cars now. We have the internet now. You have whole services that'll take you to other countries. It's not that complicated anymore. Maybe in the past, when you had to get like on a wagon and it took 6 months to move and half your family is dead by the time you arrive. Yeah, immigrating was actually really impressive back then. It's not like that anymore. You've got airplanes. You've got air-conditioned vehicles. You know what I mean? So you've got the ability to organize extremely well. You've got all the advice you need on the internet. It's very easy. It's not what it used to be. Make sure that the people who move in with you share your ideologies, is all I'm saying. Because if not, you'll just be like the way we are in America, ready to go to war with ourselves. One of the things that happened during these recent riots, right, the whole Black Lives Matter movement riots, they went into Washington and they defaced a bunch of World War II veteran memorials. People who died protecting the country. And of course, this is probably one of the saddest moments of the riots in terms of things that they vandalized. I'm not talking in general, but things that they vandalized has nothing to do with George Floyd, really. The people who died all that time back, they were doing it for your country, for you to live in, and so that the world wouldn't be ruled by Nazis, right? They died, millions of them, and these World War II sites were vandalized, and it's despicable, and it doesn't surprise me because the other thing that they do is they like to burn the American flag, and it makes me think, okay, you hate America, I get it, so just go somewhere else, or I will. One of us is leaving. One of us is leaving, or we're going to go start fighting each other. It's going to be really terrible. But I get it. You don't like America. I do. I happen to like it. I didn't have an easy life either. I had a really tough life. That doesn't mean I hate it. So, but they're going to vandalize World War II memorials. That's where you draw the line, you know? It just doesn't make any sense. These are your country's heroes that helped change the world for better. You're going to vandalize that. It's so stupid. And it does not draw the... It doesn't draw my sympathies at all for their cause. It doesn't make me think, you know what? I wasn't going to vote Black Lives Matter in November, but now I am. Right? It doesn't make me do that. It makes me think, oh, well, these are the people that make living in the inner city in America a dangerous place to live. This is the whole reason we have a bunch of cops in the inner city. Where I live, you never hear about the cops. Nobody does anything bad over here. You just don't kill anyone, you don't rape anyone, you don't steal. Really simple, right? Really uncomplicated. Even when I was poor, I didn't steal. It's easy to not steal things. You just don't. You say, I'm not going to do this. The end. You know? And then the violence statistics are low. And then people say, hey, that's a non-violent place. I'm going to move there. Right? So that's it's really uncomplicated in those ways. Oh, God. Some of this stuff is really uncomplicated. Just don't murder people. Wow. That's a tough one. I don't know if I could do that. You sure? Because it'd be really nice if you didn't murder anyone. Yeah, but I'm doing drugs, man. I'm in a gang, man. Oh, okay. Worth it. Totally worth it. Will you be doing Safajiva on PlayStation 4? Can I be in your session when you kill it? I want to be able to solo farm it. Unfortunately, Safajiva is not really solo farmable. Although, if you cannot solo farm Safajiva, I mean, you can technically. It's just hard to solo farm Safajiva. He's a real challenging monster. If you want to solo farm Safajiva, I would say go watch some speedruns on Safajiva. That will probably improve your ability to farm him. But he's really meant to be played in multiplayer, and if you can't play him in multiplayer, probably go watch some speedrunners and kind of check out their technique and try to copy it. I'll probably host PlayStation 4 soon enough. I'm pretty burnt out on Safajiva. He is not fun for me. He's a real chore. He is a real chore, and I've already fought him a lot. I've got 3 accounts, and I've farmed him on all 3 accounts. Alright, where are we going? We're going this way. Black Lives Matter is nothing more to get more power and more money for themselves. Well, I think there is actually an aspect to Black Lives Matter where that is true. I think that some of it is because, you know, George Floyd was killed by cop brutality. But I think there's this whole other aspect to it where it's about identity politics and it's not good for your country. And it shows you that people are still dividing themselves on race. That's exactly what the Nazis did, right? The Nazis divided themselves on race. We've been fighting, oh, we're going to desegregate, oh, we're going to, right? We've been fighting to do these things for so long. And I think that, honestly, I think people want to be divided. Remember, did you guys see that viral video of the girl in college? And she was like in a, she was at a college where you can like chill out and study. And she's like, you know what? There's too many white people in here or something like that. Some of you white people need to leave because I, as a black woman, do not feel safe with so many white people in the room. And she said that, and everyone was super outraged. And it's like, I was thinking to myself, it's like, that's probably what you guys would actually really like. You would just like to be desegregated. You know, we did all this work to get rid of segregation. And I think, honestly, there's plenty of black people who wouldn't mind having a place that's, you know, like strictly black, you know what I mean? But once again, I think there was that far-right extremist guy in that Guardian article that was saying something like that, oh, let's segregate the states. And my realization is that would just never work because one state would be more successful than the others, and then everyone would want to migrate to that state. So the only thing that would work is saying you can't migrate here unless we have the same values. That's the only thing that would work, I think, in the long run. The riots are a pure example of how people will abuse any tragic event and use it as a ploy for evil deeds. Wasn't there like a house on fire with a child in it, and the protesters wouldn't let the firefighters get to it? Firefighters, dude. Gotta stop those evil firefighters. There's systemic racism or whatever. And in where I live, St. Louis, a black police chief was murdered in cold blood. He was murdered in cold blood. Do this. Alright, let's see what we can get from... let's see what we can get from the blacksmith. Ooh, that looks good. What was that? That was 107? Yep, he was a black police chief. He had served the community for 35 years. He had 5 children and 6 grandchildren. And a bunch of guys and you know, covering their faces in hoods ran into the building and they shot him dead, and now there's a manhunt for them. Alright, let's see what we can get out of this, guys. Heavy crossbow, huh? So a heavy crossbow maybe would be really good for single target damage. It's an interesting weapon. Trick bow, soul crossbow, regular crossbow. That was the level 107 crossbow. Didn't we already have saber wing? Was that it? That was all we got? We didn't actually get that much, huh? Wait, yeah we did. What the hell? Oh, maybe it started organizing them. Get rid of this too. So what do we got? Scatter crossbow with bonus shot power. Scatter crossbow with infinity and multi-shot. Exploding crossbow with punch. No. Heavy crossbow, huh? It has infinity. It has the accelerator. And it has multi-shot. This is actually not bad. Well, it's level 100 though, and it's common. Psh. How about this one? Fuse, accelerator, ricochet. I'm sorry, bonus shot and multi-shot. This one's actually not bad. I kind of don't want saber wing. The peak of mischievous illager engineering. Alright, so none of those were that good. Let's keep going. Oops. Crossbow, rapid crossbow. Here, let's do this again. What do we have here? Fangs of Frost. Slows mobs. We'll hold on to that one. Burning businesses, putting people out of work, destroying the property, and those people being unable to cover the cost of the damage. Yeah, really helping those racial tensions. What do you think of vigilantism? I think that... I have mixed feelings about it. Azrin says, you're right, the clear evidence that it's white supremacists causing this issue is really not helping racial tensions. Not to mention FBI has warned of the problem for 10 years. A lot of looters and arsonists that have been arrested were white. They have the ones posing as Antifa. Krieg Schetzer. Oh, so this is Christopher is pointing out something that's very common to hear now. So there's this common argument coming from the left where they say that the people who did the rioting and the looting are like white guys who are part of Antifa and they're white supremacists. The problem with Christopher's argument is that because we live in this age of cell phones, there is hours and hours and hours of footage who actually did it, and you can actually just go watch. So that argument is very bad. White supremacists were barely an issue until people brought more and more attention to it. I forgot FBI is incredible. Oh yes, a lot of different groups have been doing that. The thing that I'm not worried about in 2020 is what's next. We've had Australia fires, COVID, and now protests, but it's only been half a year. Gotta go take a nap. See you later, man. Thanks for your insight. Next time I hope you can come up with good investment ideas that even I can afford. Invest in Pokemon cards. So what do we have here? Deflect, Thorns, Snowball. I would like to have double deflect, actually. I wonder if that's possible. I like this one. Oh, we got Cave Crawler, huh? 50% artifact damage. Whoa. 20% weapon damage boost aura. Whoa, we actually got something real strong here. Final Shout, Protection. What's the last one? Food Reserves, Chilling, Final Shout, Protection, Gravity Pull, Surprise Gift, Swift-Footed, and Health Synergy. Whoa, does Health Synergy and Final Shout work together? Because if so, that would be crazy. %50 artifact damage. So what counts as artifact damage is the next question. The lightning rod certainly would. Do the mobs count as artifact damage? So like, we have this wonderful wheat. Can we have both of these and they get bonus damage? We're going to have to test this out, guys. Ezra says, even if it's been reported as true by the right, it's not a left argument, it's a simple fact. When are you going to play Monster World on PC Live? I'm not sure, Jonah. What's the new update about? The new update. There's a new update out? Probably until Electron comes out. Monster Underworld is dry right now. That's true. How's the card business going now that you mention it? Don't have the opportunity to watch it as much as I'd want. Oh, the cards. Oh, we're having a great time over on the card stream. We've been opening up tons and tons and tons of booster packs. There's been a lot of terrific pulls. Somebody yesterday pulled a $1,000 Charizard out of a booster pack. So that happened in yesterday's stream. And, you know, actually I'm making a lot of money on grading cards. So cards, I'll pull out a really nice card and then it will grade like a 10 and I'll end up making a bunch of money from that. So does this armor boost the damage of pets is what I'm trying to figure out. So he's hitting for 2,100. I won't be able to test it until my pet comes back. Dark Roan says, I'm from UK. Nice to meet you. I got the update like a couple of hours ago, AGI. What? Alright, hold on. I'm going to get our Iron Golem back in just a moment. Oh, he's doing less damage. Oh. So then the Cave Crawler set gives your mobs more damage. Your whatever you want to call them, your buddies. They die very fast though. I don't know, it doesn't seem as strong though. You died. No, deflect's too strong. The reason why deflect is so strong is because it sends... We'll have to see. Maybe there'll be like an AFK build I can make out of that. We'll have to see. Ah, darn. Here's a stronger reinforced armor, but it doesn't have deflect. Now, deflect is definitely one of the best skills, guys. Because not only do you not take any damage, but you send it back. Yeah, deflect is it, guys. Also, let's get rid of this. We're bringing the mushroom back. So we must be doing well with our farming style. Do you see that? So they don't do any damage to me when it deflects. And they're busy killing themselves too. That's the wildest part. And actually, this has shown me that I want to replace the golem. Now we need like a unique reinforced armor with the right buffs on it. That's what we need. Broadsword. Extra damage. Powerful pushback. I didn't see this. Ah, if only the first enchantment was stronger. That's too bad. I got the update. It's addicting to people. So how's it going, guys? What do you want to chat about today, huh? We were having a conversation about identity politics and the future of politics when it comes to, like, identity and, I don't know, it's whether people can get along, I guess. Let's get this chest. Hey, there's an exploding crossbow, but it is weaker. There's another chest. Weird. That was fast. Come on now. Secrets found. 1 out of 12. Chest open. 2 out of 3. We're all just twiddling our thumbs until a Latreon shows up. I know, right? What do you think of the days and days of footage of police opening fire on peaceful protesters or innocent bystanders, destroying property, warning armed Proud Boys they are about to gas protesters? So, Christopher, honestly, I don't know if I want to have a conversation with you about it. I feel that it will probably be a fruitless conversation. I don't really know if I can convince you of anything. Honestly, everything you say and everything I say will basically be anecdotal. We're going to say, I've got video evidence for this. And you'll say, I have video evidence for that. So what is even the point of having a conversation about it? I think that your mind is already made up and my mind is already made up. Let me ask you a different question, Christopher. How do you feel about defunding the police? Do you support that? Get your booty out of here. These staff guys are super dangerous. God, come out of hiding, man. It's like he's waiting for that mushroom to go away. He's gone. By the way, what was this? No affinity. Double thorns, huh? I would be interested in seeing how a weapon with double thorns and deflect works. I like how they accidentally kill themselves with those explosives. Let's go this way. Doo-ba-doo. Oh. Is this what the church voice channel would be like? Never been to one of those. A long time ago we had this one thing called Church on Sundays, and it was more of a joke channel. It was like a voice channel meeting, and we didn't really necessarily talk about politics. Actually, we would talk about people would confess the craziest thing that they ever did, or that they would never, a secret they wouldn't share with other people. So no, it didn't necessarily sound like this. What we've been talking about sounds much more political. So no, that was very different back then. It's funny that you brought that up. I guess people really liked it because I've heard people mention it multiple times now. Must have been memorable. I don't support defunding the police. I support the idea of police funds that are being used. I support the idea of police funds that are being used for military gear be used elsewhere. Okay, so you want the police to have their military gear taken away. Cool. And that's it. And then the protests are over, I guess, then. What exactly is it that people want? So, you're very upset. Black Lives Matters. The police are pigs, whatever, right? You've now taken away the police's whatever counts as military gear. I don't know exactly what that is. Obviously, the guy who killed George Floyd didn't have on military gear. So, are you saying if we defund the police's military gear, that you would then be done being super upset? You won't ask for anything after that. We would just go back to being normal. No more riots in the streets, Whatever, you vote, I vote in November. We just have our votes and be chill. I apologize if I seem like I'm trying to be convinced or get you in a gotcha moment. I like hearing your intellectual discussions. Oh, no problem, man. I've actually done quite a bit of arguing myself, I guess, with amongst friends. We've all been passing our ideas around, and actually one of the key features of this subject, I would say, is that the people on the left, they strike me as extremely religious about this subject. This isn't a subject where you're allowed to have logical conversation. What you're meant to do is you're meant to agree with faith that they're right, and that's it. And that is one of the key features of this conversation. There's no such thing as like no reason to look at information. You can't really change anyone's minds. Everyone's minds are made up. So the question is, how do we reach a point where the people who are super unhappy with the way that the state is are now happy? How do we reach that point? What do you actually want? And I would say that's maybe a question that they don't even necessarily have an answer to. Like, who the hell wants to defund the police? It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I actually think that they should. I was mentioning this earlier in the stream. We actually should defund the police so that, the inner cities can turn into a third world country already. Third world country cities, and people can be like, oh, defunding the police was really a stupid idea. Whose idea was that? Because I feel like people need to see what a bad idea that is. Defund the police and we'll have a few purges in the city. What do you guys think? A few purges? I wonder how many little old ladies would die in a situation like that. Or some robber would come in. It's like, oh, you're a little old lady. You got money. Yeah, we don't have police anymore. I'm going to kill you. There's no detectives. There's no forensic science anymore. I'm taking you out. Taking you out and I'm taking your stuff. Did you see my golem fall? Wait a second, there's some kind of door over here? Yes, there is. Do you think police are racist? No, not at all. I think that maybe there have been racist police. I think that the vast majority of police are not racist. And I think that it's a silly question to ask because it's something you'll never prove. Because very often, if somebody is racist, they're never going to say it. Also, I think that humans very naturally prefer their own race. I think that blacks prefer blacks. I think that, you know, just pick any race. Nobody wants to see their race doing poorly, you know? So it's just kind of this endless sort of conversation you could have. It's the whole conversation of World War II's. A lot of it is about race and nationality. A lot of the fighting goes on about race, and it's like you can just keep having this argument. You can call everybody racist, but there's no point to it. Why call someone racist? What laws do you want to change? What do you want to change? You can't. This is what I mean to say. You can't force somebody to not be racist. It's literally impossible to change, right? You just can't do that. It's in their own minds, you know? So what are you going to do? You're going to reach into their mind and force them with brainwashing or whatever, like a mind control device. You're no longer racist. I can force it out of you. It's impossible. So the only thing you can do is change policy. So what policy do you want to change? And they want to defund the police. Good. I say let's defund the police in the inner city. But the rules are you don't get to move out to the places that have cops after you voted for that. The places with cops get to say, no, we don't accept you because you were the people who didn't want to have police. So you're in that group and we're in this group. We'll have police and you won't. The places that do have police that don't turn into third world countries, you know, the states, they should be allowed to reject people who did want to get rid of the police. And you should be sticking with people of your own ideology, because it's obvious people do not mix very well. That's all of this is that's the outcome for me. The outcome for me is that mixing ideologies does not work. It does not work well at all. I think that the outcome of all the riots and everything for me is that the world is more about power and less about diplomacy. And I think that that's what you see from a historical point of view. I think that the reason we try to believe in diplomacy is because it would be very nice if we could be diplomatic. That would be very nice. But in reality, when somebody really wants something, they're not going to be diplomatic about it anymore. It just it really does just come down to violence. So I don't really believe in diplomacy as much anymore because of the riots and the looting. I believe that power and control works much better. Actually, the Chinese government probably knows a thing or two about that. The Chinese government probably doesn't have these problems occur. And the funny thing is, it's not like the Chinese government is poor either at this point. The Chinese government is doing real well. Let's get rid of these guys. Miguel says they plan to defund it a little bit, but not entirely. Frick the people who want to get rid of the police. They just need to increase the restrictions and training needed for cops to be hired. Smack these guys up. Smack! Get this apple. As learned in Heroes 3, diplomacy is OP. Is that like a skill in the game? Yeah, I think people would like diplomacy to work because diplomacy would be a really nice thing. But when you have two groups with irreconcilable differences, you cannot have diplomacy. It does not work. It's just kind of this really nice thing that you wish you could have, but it's not something you'll have. Greyhammer. Chinese have rights too. Yeah, no, I agree that the Chinese have rights, but what I'm saying is it doesn't ever actually turn into legislation in the Chinese government. So if the Chinese people say defund the police, it's just never going to happen because the Chinese government's going to actually decide the policy and not the people of China for the most part. Alright, so that doesn't lead to anything. Weird. Was there just fewer chests this time? Yeah, it makes it possible to negotiate with enemies to make them join you. Well, actually, that happened in World War II, remember? So, originally, it was actually France and Britain were reluctant to start a war with Germany after Germany uh, openly breaks the rules of the Treaty of Versailles, or however you pronounce it. Sorry, I'm terrible with the French words. But, yeah, he breaks the treaty, and... Is it Versailles? I think it's Versailles. He breaks the treaty, and he's building up this army, and everyone's just kind of chilling back, going, you know what? We'll just be diplomatic with them. There will be no war. We'll just be diplomatic. But when somebody really wants something, this just does not work. People make a point where they decide diplomacy is not going to be how I do this. Oh my god. I thought defunding the police was meant to lift responsibilities off the police and redistribute money to somewhere else, not reduce their number, just their influence. Police cannot solve everything. Hold on, let me throw this out. Ooh, stalwart armor. What's this? Potion use boosts defense, 35% damage reduction, 30% chance to negate hits. So this is a unique reinforced armor set, it looks like. Snowball, freezing. Ah, that's too bad. It looks like a good armor set because it's unique, but it's actually pretty crappy because of the enchantments. So you got Snowball. Final Shout and Protection are on the same tree. What a pity. Darn, I got real excited there. Run over here. The only thing I like about these people that wanted to fund the police is the fact that it makes me look smart. You go, oh, I guess I'm not so dumb after all. Whoops, I did not mean to do that. Well, 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 we did not get anything so far. We've been grinding all day, man. They're real stingy in this game. So we got a unique armor set. Actually, I feel like the blacksmith gave us more unique armors than I was expecting. Marcus says you need a better bow. I agree, actually. We're here because I'm after the exploding bow. I'm looking for an exploding bow with infinity and 2 other decent buffs on it. What are you doing there, kitty? Soul healer? Man. Come on, blacksmith. Give me some hot gear. No, no, no. No, no. No, 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 no. No, no. The battle axe, huh? Double axe. Spin attack. Cool. Hey, we got some unique gloves. Fighter's bindings. Turbo punches. Looting. Huh, we'll have to hold on to that. I wonder if the looting will be any good. feel like my best rewards have come from the blacksmith. Alright, so we got Titan Shroud. It's got Deflect, Protect, but no Final Shout in the middle enchantment. That would have been perfect, you know? We'll hold on to it. Guard's Armor? What? What the heck is Guard's Armor? I don't even recognize this. Katana. Great Hammer. You know, I ended up not liking Cave Crawler. Oh, we'll hold on to it. It's level 7. How about this broadsword? Wow, I need a lot more, I need to level up a lot in order to be able to enchant these. Are you feeling the grind yet, Mr. Krabs? You still looking for the Swift Boots? I would like the Swift Boots to show up, yeah. How insensitive of Minecraft to have looting as a tool in these times. Oh my god. Crepin says, I think there is always a way to reach an agreement, but depends on willingness to reach it on all parts. I mean, you kind of contradict yourself. Basically, you say there is always a way to reach an agreement, but only if everyone is willing to reach an agreement. The point with the problem with reaching an agreement is people are not willing to reach an agreement. So it's kind of a contradictory statement if you think about it. The whole problem is that people won't agree. And that's what results in war. That's why people go to war. That's the whole point. Yeah, that's the whole point. The golem just kills that guy. Bring on the zombies. Man, that's a lot of experience. Would you say Minecraft dungeons hold up to Diablo? I never played Diablo, so I have no perspective. I really think some bad stuff is going to go down in the United States really soon. Well, yeah, you're going to have homegrown terrorism, basically. That's going to be the new game. Even with their IQ combined, I'm still smarter than them. Oh my god. How in this... Oh, I already read that. What are you doing over there, kitty? I should actually have... So I like this hammer, but I wish I had a hammer like this that had... I wish it had looting on it, because I feel that looting would actually help quite a lot. Right now, we're grinding up for better gear, and you'll get better gear sooner if you can just earn a lot, you know what I mean? I can't wait to move out, live near the mountains in my state. They look so pretty. Heck yeah. Oh, God. Alright, nothing over there. They got thorns. Oh, God. All this for a regular chest. Ah! And it gave us like 10. It gave us like 10 jewels. Perfect. Grinding in this reminds me of grinding in Borderlands. Can be fun 1 minute and infuriating the next. We are getting unique weapons. I'm looking for the exploding crossbow. I want like a exploding crossbow, but unique. Where could you move that would be resilient versus natural disasters? That's a great question. I don't actually know that. That'd probably be something my wife would want to know. She's always worried she's going to get hit by a natural disaster. Any advice to keep long-term changes effective? When shit hits the fan, bad habits crawl their way back. It's frustrating. What? Sounds like you're speaking about something specific, but I don't know what. This is my ghost form. Beating you up. Nothing down here crazy. Dude, I gotta have those running boots. I like the golem. He's useful. He's a distraction, and he does do a little bit of damage. Like, you'll watch, when we fight the boss, he's actually quite useful with the boss. But the thing is, we could put him on when we reach the boss. You know what I mean? Know what I'm saying? So I don't really feel like... What did we get there? So we got secrets found, 1 out of 6. Chest open, 1 out of 3. Okay. Robert! Thank you so much, Robert. There is a fireball thrower, explosion impact, and chance of chain reaction. Very deadly. Oh, cool. Fireball thrower? Tornado or hurricane insurance? Oh, I have no clue. There's a chest back there. We gotta go back for it. Probably just a regular chest, though. Yeah, it is. It's just a regular chest. But, I mean, you could pull out something crazy from one of those. You ready for next month's episode of 2020 Apocalypse? Uh-huh. What do you think will happen next month? There's the piggy. We gotta get the piggy. Smacking you. That's right. Eat it, bitch. Ow. Ooh-wee, where else do we go? Sorry if I said something rude earlier. I know it's a very hot-tempered topic for you people. Did you just say for you people? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just someone in Europe who tries to understand what's going on with you guys. I don't even remember what you said. I'm just here to get angry. That's my job. Oh, come here, piggy. Where you going, Invoker? Dude, we wrecked that guy so fast. Wait, what else is here? Oh, wow, we got 2 things from that. Wow, they actually got me. If you only ever rent, you can never lose anything. Take the hurricane. What? Take that, hurricane. That's what he said. Alright, so we can clearly see on the side here that there is a place for us to go into. Oh my god, did you see that? That was crazy. That was from Deflect, man. Deflect's OP. So if you kill monsters fast enough, it doesn't matter if you're almost dead because they will always drop food. Hey, there we go. Ooh, we got one of those crossbows. Look at that, no infinity. Pity. Creepers hella powerful in this game. Yeah, they are. Where are we? So we missed a drop over there. I don't think there's going to be any more rewards in here. Run! How's it going, God Terror Boy? I gotta get a super OP. Ow. Ow. Smacking you. I think I'm gonna have to die this time, guys. I told you. That's okay, though. Picked up scale mail. This is just too tempting of a group. Is there nothing in this room? I feel like this room's so large. I feel like there could be stuff in here.
The fiery forge is destroyed. The war machines of the Illagers have been smashed.
Whew. Miguel says, can we play some Monster Hunter tomorrow? I've been bored and want to do some grindings with the stream. That all depends on how many Pokemon cards I open. Alright guys, we've been going for 2 hours and 50 minutes. I think that's long enough. Let's just see what rewards we can get here, and then I'll wrap up. Level 200 bazillions. What? Soul healer. Oh man. We need the boots. That's the dog food. That's the fishing pole. That's the book. That's the feather. The feather's not bad. This has deflect and thorns. Oh, there we go. We got a 108 for the soul healer. Look at that. Just gonna delete everything. Feather again. Ah, and the death cap mushroom again. Darn. I'm looking for the boots. Maybe I should be playing a map that has the boots. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up. I'm going to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.